Dr. Garry Nolan is getting aboard the Nazca mummy train. So let's talk about it. It's time for another Nazca mummy news update. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, so I was watching Matt Ford on the Good Trouble show yesterday live when he was interviewing Dr. O'Connor here on the right. And talking about the Nazca mummies, and Dr. O'Connor was basically giving his overview of the Nazca mummies and validating that they were real beings, even though he has not studied them personally. But he has gone over the data, and he was being very favorable on the Nazca mummies. Well, it turns out that Garry Nolan was watching, and he reached out to Matt Ford, and here is what happened.
On my signal, Dr. Garry Nolan just pinged, and he says, Matt, this presentation is amazing. Again, this is Dr. Garry Nolan of Stanford University, the executive director of the Soul Foundation. And he was, and he says, I don't want to come on. I was going to ask him if he wants to come on the air, but he says he looks like shit today. So he's just going to text these questions. But well, you should see me without a suit. I totally look horrible. So anyway, yeah. So Dr. Nolan says, Matt, this presentation is amazing. Clearly, he's very impressed. He was noting here that there seem to be two different types. He notes here the small ones seem very different than the other one that is crouched over. Are these two species?
In fact, they've described three, as far as I know, three different separate species of these mummies that were all discovered in this same repository of these body or corpses, really is what they are. They're not really mummies, they're corpses.
Right.
Well, they are mummies. His information isn't as robust as I would like. They have been actually ritually mummified. Some of them we know for sure. And of course, there's more than just three types. So his information, again, is not as robust as I would like, but he is an actual MD who has reviewed some of the available data on the mummies, and he had some really great stuff to say. So I highly recommend everybody check it out. Of course, when I asked him about the giants, he didn't know what I was talking about, and neither did Matt, even though we do have in the public purview information about the three severed hands of the giant tridactyls. Those beings seem like they were probably about 9 feet high. No intact specimen has been shown, although we have been told there are heads. And I did a piece this morning talking about what Professor Brown had to say about one of those giant alien or whatever they are heads. Anyway, but yeah, so check out this full interview for a lot of great information about the Nazca mummies, a favorable view on the Nazca mummies as once living entities, even though his information is not quite as robust as I would like. But good stuff. But there you go. Garry Nolan chiming in, asking questions, being impressed by this gentleman's dive into the mummies and the research that has been done on the mummies. Garry Nolan is interested in the mummies, guys. Now, he does have a follow-up to that. He does have a follow-up. He goes on to Twitter saying, to be clear, I'm still holding judgment, but the analysis of the bone structures was great. I'm not an anatomist, so it would be great to have another anatomist do it, or on it. The more the merrier. I mean, look, the most compelling cases are the ones we should have the most skepticism of. Until the data becomes evidence, let the science speak. Don't conclude anything yet. Yeah, don't conclude anything. We don't know what these beings are, if they came from up there or down there, where they came from, but they are certainly real beings or once living beings and not hoaxes, not cobbled together dolls made of body parts. But Garry, yeah, so could this lead to a UFO Mummy Week? I love it, right? Right? We have UFO Day. Why not Mummy Day? Why not Mummy Day, guys? And there's a great, now there's an English translation and AI dubbing of a documentary or a small news piece. There's 25 minutes, whatever that would be, on the Nazca mummies that you can go and listen to and watch. Really good stuff from Joyce Mantilla and Terry Jaman about the Nazca mummies. And I'll link to that below. Really good stuff. But okay, so Garry Nolan coming out favorably on the mummies, saying that he is now looking into it, or he's open-minded on it. He wants somebody else to do it, unfortunately, but he is taking the mummies seriously now. Well, that has got a lot of people talking, and this is really exciting, guys. We have people like Tiny Claus saying, just making some room for the hat I might have to eat regarding the Nazca mummies. I love it. And what I said to that is there's no shame in reconsidering one's position based on new information. But yeah, we have people like Claus, who I respect a lot, finally taking the mummies seriously after Garry Nolan started taking them seriously. So I love it. You got Joe Murgia also talking about Dr. O'Connor's information. This was before Garry Nolan came out, and he had some questions. How does Dr. O'Connor know, for example, that it could be tied to modern day UFO and abduction phenomenon? Well, I didn't hear that part of Dr. O'Connor's speech. I got the last half of the presentation, but I can answer that because I've talked about this on the show. I don't know if this is what Dr. O'Connor was referring to or not, but implants. The Nazca beings have implants, multiple implants throughout their bodies. We have many examples of this. Well, obviously, the abducting race of aliens puts implants in people. So, yeah, there's obviously some cultural connective tissue between those two phenomena, or technological connective tissue. So there's something connecting those two phenomena or beings, right? Or whatever you want to call that. Abductions, Nazca mummies, both contactees and the beings from Nazca have these implants. Obviously, something is going on there, even though the implants themselves are very different. But yeah, getting back to the Garry Nolan stuff, could we have people like Michael Masters coming out being more favorable toward the Nazca mummies now, maybe taking another look at the Nazca mummies based on Garry Nolan finally maybe getting aboard the Nazca mummy train. He hasn't made it official yet that he views them as once living entities, but he is now looking at them seriously. And you can go onto Twitter and see people talking about this, again, taking this stuff seriously. And you can see the debate, back and forth, Zan Zetterstrom saying, I seriously don't understand mudslinging or asserting anything when there isn't a peer-reviewed paper of the full study of each specimen available to the public. That's ahead of us. Wait for the science. Don't fall prey to beliefs. But Douglas Charles has a great point. I agree. There is, however, a paper on Maria, a scientific, peer-reviewed paper, whose authors found no evidence of tampering. So the quote Michael Masters, about the consensus of opinion is obviously off base and at most generously obliquely cast aspersions on those authors. And here you go. You have strangers saying, how did Spielberg's alien depiction in Close Encounters end up perfectly matching the Nazca mummies? Yeah, it is an uncanny resemblance, right? From Close Encounters of the Third Kind to the Nazca mummies. Startling coincidence. And then you go down here and you have people talking about the similarities between the Nazca beings and the Siberian being, which I've talked several times about. And yeah, there's shocking similarities. This could be right here until recently living a Nazca type being here on in Siberia, sadly deceased, but. Its facial features are shockingly similar. Shockingly, there's been comparisons and analyses done, and that could be what a Nazca being looks like with right after it died. So, but anyway, yeah, there you go. People are talking about the Nazca mummies. I love it. This is huge. Garry Nolan getting aboard is getting people talking about it, taking it seriously. This is next level. This is awesome. This is just what we needed for the next chapter of the Nazca mummy story is Western scientists getting aboard the research, taking it seriously, getting this information out to the public so the public can realize the UFO disclosure has already happened. UFO disclosure happened in Peru and Mexico, and it is amazing, guys. Now, when I say UFO disclosure, I'm not necessarily saying the Nazca mummies or the beings are from another planet, but maybe their creators are. They are certainly anomalous. I don't think they naturally evolved here, because if they did, that is the biggest gap in the fossil record ever. Also, it doesn't even make sense. They have different reproductive cycles. They have totally different sizes, but they all have the tridactyl template, right? But they're totally different species and subspecies. We've got, the little guys that we're all familiar with. We've got Maria. We've got Montserrat, who are distinctly different from each other, even though they're human-sized. We've got the giants. We've got the other little guys with the wing-like appendages on the back. So we've got multiple different varieties of these beings, probably more still to come. So it's an amazing discovery that is coming out of Peru. Again, I don't think this is explainable by normal evolution. Again, they've all got the same tridactyl template, but they're all wildly different from each other, as if a mad scientist created these beings or something like that. Somebody interested in hybridization and genetic experiments. That's where my mind goes as to the creation of the Nazca beings. But let me know your theories about the Nazca beings and what you think of the latest news in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, and all that other good stuff. There's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I will see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.